Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do a tour of everything available in this all-in-one app that I'm planning to use to replace Scrivener, Google Drive, Sheets, Word. Most of that I feel like I can now do within Notion in just one place, and I am so excited to share it with all of you as well. After months and months of work, it is now live in the Notion template gallery. It is live on Etsy. It is on my website. So wherever you want to get it, it is available now and at a discounted rate for the first week only. So when you open the Novel Writing Companion, you have the dashboard, this home base where you have some daily trackers, you have access to your projects, some quick links to different parts of each project. If you want to upgrade to have access to all of the charts available, you can do that here. If you've got questions, reach out. And again, follow me on YouTube. We also have this long list of references and an editing guide. It's a lot. There's navigation here. Let's go ahead and open this. We just talked about the 5 sections that this is split into. And then we have our pre-writing for when you are planning your book. And then your novel writing tracker is for when you are putting words on the page. We have 3 projects by default. We can go through, add a new page to create a 4th project. Within our advanced tutorial, we have more about how to do that. So once you download this, what's the first step? The first step, I think, is to favorite it. Just by clicking the little star in the corner, it will be so much easier to find if you're using Notion for a bunch of other things. Then we can click through to the tutorial. The tutorial includes 2 basic parts, the quick start guide and advanced customization. The quick start guide is to get you started. It should take less than 30 minutes to get everything to a place where you can at least use the template. I talk about it a lot on here with everything when it comes to tracking, that this Notion is such a powerful, powerful tool, especially when you put in the work up front. Do just a little bit of work so that the automations and the databases and everything that's linked can work for you. Again, before you begin, you need a Notion account. You can get a free one. You just won't have access to the charts that are in here. If you want to upgrade to a plus plan, you have unlimited charts. I have 12 in here. I have 6 for each project. Is that how that maths? 4 for each project. That's how we do math. If you have anything already written that you want to import, make sure that that's ready and accessible, and then you can complete the setup. By going through, updating your first project, you can change out the picture, update the character templates, importing your work by bringing your notes into the pre-writing journal, bringing your scenes into the scenes. You can make sure that the properties are relevant. You can add characters. You can do that directly from your notes. You can create new characters right there in the property page. One of the things that I think is going to be the most useful about this template is that I've personally been an editor for more than a decade. I've written 8 novels myself. I teach this. I have a Medium channel that's dedicated to teaching people how to write stories that are impactful, that have good theme, that are cohesive. And I built all of that teaching directly into this template. You can access my favorite questions for pre-writing, my favorite questions for a daily pre-write that gets you into the mindset to write. All of that is in this template. Every time you open a new scene, the prompts that I personally use every time that I write a novel, the ones that I recommend to my clients, are built into the template. I mentioned that if you have a plus or a business or an education plan, there are charts available. When you pull up a project, you're going to see a visual dashboard. It's going to show you how many scenes you have left to write, how many are already written. That is the default chart on the left side. On the right side, our default chart is the graph showing your daily writing count and how many words you've written each day for the duration of a project, which I find so motivating. Charts are a way to visualize my progress, which with ADHD in particular, my timeliness, I really struggle to see the work that I've already done. And so I wanted to show not only the work that we have left to do, but the work that has already been done, so that every time you open your project, you get just this little burst of dopamine of look at what I'm already accomplishing. Then within our writing tracker, we have charts available, again, showing the words written on each given day, and then a cumulative total. Then these are the next steps after you do the quick start. But let's go ahead and go home, and we will look at a project. The cool thing about this is if I decide that I'm going to put in the book that I'm going to be working on next, The Enchantress, I'm updating that there. I'm going to call it in progress because this is the picture that I chose for The Enchantress. But if I wanted to change it, I can just click on those dots and then choose replace. Go to Unsplash is where I like to get a lot of my images, and I'm going to be like French countryside. I don't like any of those better than the castle, so we're going to let it stay. But that is how you update the picture. You can then come in and write a synopsis. I link to a Susan Dennard's guide for how to write a one-page synopsis that I think is one of her most viewed posts ever. We have a link to the major turning points into the story structure that brings you right into that database. Key Relationships is going to bring you into the pre-writing notebook that has you go through the character web, which is a John Truby concept. This is all linked together, but you can just sit here and be like, once upon a time, there was an enchantress. And writing out your summary right here on the page so that when you pull up your project, you have your query or your synopsis, however you want to use it, available right there. Then I have the major scenes that are included with the book listed right here. One of the things you can do with these is link them to what plot point. You can go through and write up a quick summary of the major events. I find this really useful as I can then look at my scene page and basically read a summary of my novel without ever opening the scenes, just by going through the major events. So if I do that, we have our major events so that it wraps. And now we can actually read it, which is always a great start. Then the coolest thing is if I go into editing and we have this, our major events is available here as well, so that I can look at what's already happening. I can go right next to it and write down the things that I want to change. I'm nicer than this to my clients, but to myself, write better is a good note. You can create the point of view character. The characters in scene links directly to cast of characters so that we can know who we've seen and then how often they're appearing, if there is anything that's going wrong. This word count is pulling directly from the original. So this is essentially the tracker that I use as a professional editor. I'm using it with my clients right now while I do my work. It helps me track how many things I've edited right now. Like, so when this changes, you can see how much you have left to do. This is all work that I do in my own process, except that this is automatically integrated with your book already. It's pulling the word count automatically. It can pull the characters and scenes automatically. This is linked to the scene database. It's just showing different properties. We have a lot that are hidden. The writing status is hidden here so we can focus on editing, but it's the same database. Using the same database allows for so much automation in what we're creating that makes me really happy. And again, these story structure things that we're linking in this database, you can open this and you can learn about the story structure directly. It's all combined in the we have the hook, and in the hook we have resources to some of the links that I send my clients, the percent goal, a little note that if there's a beat that takes up more than one scene, it's at the first percent that matters. I have a quick summary. I link Save the Cat with KM Weiland's plot points. I go to both of these, and this icon needs updated. Let's do that really quick. We use the pen knob for Miss Weiland. So then this only links the ones that have Weiland plot points, but you can also go under Save the Cat to see those ones, which includes ones that are not available in other systems. You can go through and learn again about all of the different ways to write these. all of these links. I use friend links to my own Medium account so that you have access to paywalled articles without having to pay for them. And these then directly tie in to your story notes, and they tie in to your scene, because you can go through, enter your scene. Like you said, this automatically changed the title. If I add a new scene here and I can link it to the midpoint, which is showing a mirror for the mirror moment, then I can pull this up in a side peek and look at it while I am writing my scene here. And I think that is just the most useful thing. See, there, our scene right next to our midpoint. We can learn what we need to do, brainstorm here. I include the scene structure that I recommend that all my clients use, with an explanation of how to do it, links to more information, a little table you can fill out to get yourself set up to write. And then if you want to, you can just start typing. Your whole book can be written from this app. You don't need anything else. You have the work that you would do in an Excel spreadsheet. You have the work that you would do in Scrivener by being able to sort scenes in different ways. You have everything that I have ever used to write 8 novels and to edit dozens and dozens of them, all right here. When you're ready to write for a day and you open up a new page, it's going to automatically populate with a place to free write, with your goal for today's writing session, the things that you're thinking about, anything that you think you need to change to the general structure. If you need to, add a new scene or move something around, you can think about that here. At the end of your writing, you can go through and do an end of session review, where you talk about what you've accomplished, celebrate the work that you've done, and then prepare for tomorrow so that things go faster. You can choose how many words you want to write today. You can make this automatic if you want to. Right now, I have this goal set up as an automatic. Again, this is a huge, vast overview. I'm going to go into specifics in future videos so that at least right now this isn't going too long. For each writing tracker for the 3 different projects that are automatically set up, we have 5 different views if you are a plus user, 3 views if you have a free account. The simple view is just a way to track your today's word count and your words so far. But there's also a daily writing tracker chart, a chart detailing your total words so far, which is one you have to do a little bit of math on yourself. So if today I wrote 250 words, my goal was 500, I didn't meet my goal. My words so far is summed down here. It's 4482. When I change that, it's going to update whether I'm on track for my total goal. I can decide today writing felt great, writing those 250 words. It will sort here by your mindset, and here you can see our total word count going up, and our daily writing tracker has updated with the words that we wrote for today. I can also go through and link this to the scene names, which is way easier when they're named. So that is my midpoint in the Enchantress. So I can name it The Mirror is Created. It's going to update on my scene database. It is now linked to the work that I've done today. So it's linked to our daily writing tracker. I can use these buttons here to figure out how many words there are. And if you close these structures, you won't end up with those words counting. So you'll see that that changed our word count to 59, which is just these words. All of these have information for how you can sort them. We have our writing status, our editing status. Again, our point of view character, although for this book, it's all one point of view. How far we are to getting it done. There is so much that you can do with this template that I hope that you can come and explore. In the pre-writing, I have a quick list. This isn't attached to a database. It's just a list of some ideas of what you might want for your pre-writing. This is then sorted by project, and you can see that we have a bunch of story notes here. This will just be a standard story note. It's linked to the Enchantress. It's relating itself to a scene. Close this really quick so that we can go in and look at these templates. When you open these, you can see I pulled what I think are the most impactful of the exercises from the Anatomy of Story, a fairly advanced writing book. You don't have to use these. I think they're fantastic, though, for building what John Truby calls an organic world, where the character and the world and the plot all work together to prove a theme, basically. I note my own process, which is a little bit of unstructured brainstorming followed by turning to these formal questions. So we have write down your premise, what is possible. One I find really useful is what are the inherent problems with this premise? Like for the musical that I've been working on, I'm trying to tell the story of really six main characters at once, and it can feel really chaotic. And so trying to control that chaos is something that's inherently part of the premise that I created. And there's no way around that. It's a feature, not a bug, but it's a feature that's going to cause work. With the Enchantress, one of the things that I wrote when I did this work, but it's all over the place. It's in Keep Notes, it's in Word, it's in Scrivener, it's in a physical journal. But the problems I found with that premise are that in the story of Beauty and the Beast, the Enchantress has virtually unlimited powers. How can I build a story around that in a way that the magic still has downsides? How can I show a fall arc for this character in a way that is believable? How can the magic not solve everything? And so on. That was a problem inherent with that premise of telling the story of the Enchantress and Beauty and the Beast, is she is very powerful. And then again, you look at the best character, the conflict, what's going to happen to change your character. This is something I talk about all the time on Medium. I'm going to talk about it on YouTube more too as I start diving into writing advice. This is the question I ask anybody who has ever asked for my help. What is the choice that your character makes at the end of the story that they are incapable of making at the beginning? This is my North Star when it comes to writing. And you can access that as well as all the other Anatomy of Story pre-writes and an empty story notes that's all just set to brainstorm, available in this pre-writing tab. We haven't even talked about, there's so much in this template. So I have a standard Enneagram type. It's a simple database. It shows each of the 9 Enneagram types, their ideal, the fear, the desire, and their vice, which you can then use to create your characters. When you open this, there are some resources to both the Enneagram Institute and Cam Weiland's notes about how to use the Enneagram to write, that then you can go through your characters. And Celeste is an Enneagram type 1. And because I know that, if I click on this, I know that she fears corruption. Her ideal is perfection. Her vice is anger. I know that what she needs is to learn to control her anger and to learn to be accepted with imperfection. Because it is right here available for me to pull over, I can make sure that her Enneagram type informs her wants and her needs in a way that is really helpful. These character arc links are just incredible. Um, the standard character template is really, really basic. I wanted to make sure that I included really personality history, common phrases, other information. This is the basic stuff. What I track in a book changes every single time that I create it. Up here, I have a place that you can do just a quick reference for their features. I do a lot of work, incidentally, when I'm editing with people who are writing to basically a D&D template. So I included this mostly just to flesh it out. You can click here to upload an image. You can use Unsplash or embed a link from like Pinterest if you want to include a name for your character. And these characters, once you add them, will be available as the cast of characters, tie-ins in your scene list, in your editing list. It all is interconnected. So when I go back here, the last thing is settings. I did the least with this because I feel like when I'm creating a book, the amount of setting that I need changes dramatically based on what I'm writing. When I did a novel in verse set in a high school, I did not need to spend a lot of time on settings. I know that's not true for a much more complex book where you can do much more. You could add tags here like different biomes. For contemporary, it might be a house or an office or outside or a park or whatever. Then you have any notes that tag the setting here, a description you can use. I do not have a template available because I want you to be able to create it yourself. I will have a tutorial about how to do that coming out soon. But for settings, I did want this to be something that you can create to meet your own needs. If you want to go through and do an in-depth thing where you talk about the different plants, the climate, the common weather, who lives there, all of that, you're welcome to do that. If you're the kind of person who's like, it's a house, you can just make it a house, which honestly, that's the kind of person that I am. It's a house. These right here are the databases that are not filtered per project. So you can go in and look at all of your scenes across projects, all of your cast of characters and your settings. I have them linked and filtered so that if you're writing a series and this is your book one, book two, book three, you don't have to remake the cast of characters. You can keep linking to old scenes. You can keep linking to old settings so that everything that you've done can be reused. Yeah, this is the Deluxe Novel Writing Companion. I know this was a lot. This was just an overview where I click on every button and get you to see the possibilities within this. In the following weeks, we're going to get into how to customize this template as well as how to maximize its potential and your potential as a writer, not only to write quickly and efficiently, but also to create stories that are meaningful, that have a developed theme, and where everything works together just seamlessly. And I can't wait to share it all with you.